Well, hello and welcome to the Cruise Diary for Friday and the weekend. And the week has been dominated, cruise-wise, by these pictures of a cruise ship going through a terrible storm. Now, the pictures were actually taken 2 years ago from the security cameras on the P&O Pacific Sun cruise ship down towards New Zealand. They just surfaced on the internet 2 years later, and of course then they've been on Sky News and the BBC and all over the place. And I've had people coming up to me saying, "That's cruising? I'm not going anywhere near a cruise ship if it's like that." Well, of course my answer is, well, it's not always like that. Things are like this, they're so rare. That's why they make the headlines. It's like pictures passengers take of airplanes going through turbulence. Nobody bothers taking a film when the airplane's flying straight and level. Now, of course, if you are on a cruise ship, then there's a possibility that you're going to feel a bit of motion in the ocean, even though most itineraries try to keep the ships in nice calm waters. For instance, the Bay of Biscay has a dreadful reputation as being rough, but I've lost count of the number of times I've sailed through it, and it's always been flat calm. And yet there was one time I was in the Adriatic sailing down from Venice, and it's normally flat as a snooker table there, and the ship was blown by a gust of wind, actually not waves but a gust of wind, and it blew the ship over about 10 degrees and back. Some passengers, the Brits, found it quite exciting. Other passengers, the Americans, were panicking like mad. Now, all cruise ships, they have gyros and they have stabilizers, which are like underwater wings to keep the ship level and cut out the rolling. Most important, they have a captain who will by and large steer the ship away from bad weather, as much in the interests of safety as in keeping the passengers happy. Now, actually, I personally don't suffer from seasickness, but I'm told by people who do that it's absolutely dreadful. So what's my advice to minimise it? Well, first of all, as a rule, bigger ships will tend to give you a smoother ride than smaller ones. I mean, just look at, I don't know, a fishing boat and a great big oil tanker in the same seas. The fishing boat's going to be bobbing around much more. So, bigger ship, smoother the ride. If you try and book a cabin lower down in the ship and towards the middle of the ship, you won't be at the ends, which are rocking like this. You'll be at the fulcrum. That's a physics lesson for you. And so the movement will be minimised. It's odd, actually, that the most expensive cabins and suites on ships are normally right at the top, where they get the most movement. Now, as for remedies, well, the previous She Who Used to Be Obeyed, when she came on a ship, she would wear bands on her wrists with a little button sewn in, sort of an acupuncture method, and she swore by them. I'm not so sure. I've got a ring that's meant to stop me snoring doing the same thing, and it's absolutely rubbish. So it worked for her. Don't know if it'll work for anybody else. Now, from the purser's desk, they will give you free tablets of a thing called Dramamine, which are pretty good apparently at knocking down seasickness. Or you can go to the ship's medical centre. Every ship has a doctor, and they'll give you a quick jab up the backside. And apparently that is a miracle cure. It knocks you out for about 30 minutes, and then you're cured for life from seasickness. Now, the one I'm told works best of all is to suck on a bit of ginger. Not ginger beer, although there's usually no shortage of ginger beers on a cruise ship, but a bit of ginger root. Apparently it works wonders. Now, at the start of every cruise, you have to go through the safety drill. They used to call it the lifeboat drill, but these days less and less ships are actually taking the passengers down to show them the lifeboats. They take you to a lounge and they show a film and go through the safety procedures. Well, on Jewel of the Seas a few weeks ago, they tried an experiment. They had some boffins from the University of Greenwich, and on the first day at sea, after the ship sailed from Harwich, Jewel of the Seas, beautiful ship by the way, absolutely gorgeous, they were cruising towards the Baltic. And by arrangement with the crew, and in fact with the passengers as well, but they didn't know when it was going to happen, they sounded the alarm. And then they filmed what happened. They had about 100 security cameras and other cameras and things all set up all over the ship. And they were able to watch, almost individually, how the passengers reacted, who went where and which route they took. And it's going to take them about 6 months apparently to go through all these tapes. And then they'll be coming back with some recommendations on whether the system can be improved. But the early reports are reassuring. Apparently everything went exactly according to plan, and everyone was quite happy with it. And the passengers, they carried on up through the Baltic. I'm sure they had a great cruise. St. Petersburg at the end of that cruise, marvellous place. Now, I'll end with a bit of itinerary news. Carnival, the Carnival Victory, sails 7 night cruises out of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and they're very port intensive. There's a port stop every day, and actually that can be a bit too much. She does Monday at St Thomas in the US Virgin Islands, that's great for shopping, Tuesday in Dominica, Wednesday at Bridgetown, Barbados, Man, Thursday at St Lucia, Friday at St Kitts, and Saturday at St Martin, and then back to San Juan. Well, from November the 21st, they're dropping the Tuesday call at Dominica. So that will be a fun day at sea. Means the ship will save fuel. That's actually the reason Carnival say they're doing it. And it means the passengers can relax, enjoy the ship, the casino will stay open, and of course there'll be plenty of opportunity to spend a bit of money. Now, I can understand the logic of it, and it actually makes a lot of sense. Dropping a port from 7 ports in 7 days is a lot. But if it was me, actually I'd have dropped St Kitts and kept Dominica, because Dominica, that's where they filmed Pirates of the Caribbean 1 and 2. It really is beautiful. But nonetheless, that's their decision, and from November the 21st, no more Dominica. And that's it from me. I'll see you next week with some more cruise news. Until then, smooth seas and following winds. Have a good weekend. See you.